Well, good morning. Trucker Todd here, and time for another video. All right, folks. Now that I've been at RE Garrison driving for a few weeks now, people have asked me, what's the difference between this and the spot market? Which is better? Which do I like more? And so I would tell you, just to give you the summary, the quick of this, there's pros and cons to both. In this video, I'm going to try to explore the pros and cons of both and tell you the good and bad about both sides. And I'd encourage you to watch till the end. My answers might shock you. All right, folks. Also, I'd like to encourage you to give this video a thumbs up, share it on your social media platforms, and make sure you're subscribed. All of those things are free to do, and they really help the channel and help me out a lot. All right, folks, without further ado, let's cue up the music and get started. Here we go.
And this is why I do this, why I'm out here, why I keep that hammer down. Flying by these road signs with home on my mind, with these wheels turning round. For my family and for my kids, for this life I want to live. This is why I do this.
Alrighty, we're back. So, important things to know going into this. The past 4 years I've been running load boards, some of them company load boards, some of them spot market load boards. Specifically, the last 2 years or so have been spot market load boards. For those that don't know, there's a big difference between carrier load boards and spot market load boards. The big difference being carrier load boards are operating on what is called contract freight for the most part. Sometimes they'll have some broker loads on there. And spot market is running load boards that are not affiliated with a carrier per se. They are generally loads that are rejected for contract and moved over to the spot market load boards. And like I said, I've been doing this a few years now and really enjoyed it. No doubt about it. Freedom like you wouldn't believe. I personally like negotiation. Coming from a background of sales, I enjoy negotiations and things like that. So I told the guy that I worked for previously that I enjoyed the negotiations more than I did the driving, and so I looked forward to that. I did spend, several hours a day negotiating, talking to brokers, and that's something I don't have to do now, being dispatched and running contract freight. Just straight numbers. I would say most weeks I made more on the spot market just straight in the bank. However, there is a caveat to that, and the caveat being that I had to pay for subscription services like, DAT board, things like that, load boards, things like that. I also had outside occupational accident insurance that came out of that, whereas now on contract freight, that comes out of my settlement. So all things being equal, I think I probably make about the same between the two. It's a little early to tell because I've ran a lot of the southeast here lately. I haven't gone out west as much as I did on the spot market. It is nice on the spot market having the freedom. I did go home a lot more on the spot market than what I'm able to now, and so I guess you would give a slight edge to the spot market just because you make about the same money, and it's the home time is a little better. Now, flip side to that, contract freight, because it is, as the name implies, contracted freight, rates seem to be a little more stable. Pay seems to be a little more predictable. And I don't spend several hours a day on load boards looking for loads and constantly checking my email and things like that. So having said that, there are some advantages to doing this contract thing and having somebody else dispatching me. The hardest part for me was giving up the control, because I had been in control the last few years, and letting somebody else take the reins is always a little scary and a little hard to do, quite honestly. We all like to be in charge. We all like to be the boss, and we all think our way is the best way. And so, yeah, I do kind of miss that aspect of it. Now, let's talk about RE Garrison. The dispatching's been excellent. I've gone home. Well, I'm on my way home right now when I'm filming this. I'm filming it on Friday. You guys will see it on Monday. At that time, I'll be at the house. I've got a doctor's appointment on Tuesday. I'm delivering a load in Lubbock on Monday at 12:30. And so I will be home till probably Wednesday, unless one of my doctors needs to see me, and then I'll leave out probably Thursday. I'm waiting to hear back from one of my doctors. But anyway, haven't had any problem going home. Both times I've said, hey, I need to go by the house when I can. They've got me there, I mean, within a few days. For those of you that know, a lot of companies want 2 or 3 weeks notice when you want to go home. And I haven't put them down to a specific day and said, hey, I need to be home on the 19th. I've just said, hey, when we can work me by the house, I'd really like to go by the house. And first time was right after orientation. I was out about a week or so, and I needed to go home and get my tire socks, because I didn't take them to orientation, and I wanted to be able to run out west. And so they said no problem. They got me by the house. I spent a couple of days there under a load and went right back out. The other day I said, hey, I'm getting kind of burnt out. I need to go home and see some doctors anyway. And they got to work on it, and here I am heading that way. So that's been great, not having to stress about that. It was always tough before, if you had a graduation or something to go to find loads that got you there when you needed to be there. It seemed like no matter where I was, there wasn't nothing heading that way. And if it was so cheap you hated to do it. RE Garrison rates have been very, very fair. I'm not going to call them great, because there are no great rates right now in trucking. But I'm going to say that I don't believe that they're skimming. I don't believe they're doing anything shady, because, like I said, the last few years I've been looking at the load boards, and it seems like a lot of times their stuff is a little better than what I could have got. Now, when I was running the spot market, I was doing dry freight, and now I'm pulling reefer. And reefer typically pays a little better than dry van, so that tells me that they're right in line with where I think they should be, or what I think is what they'd call fair market. And so I'm happy with the rates and things. I'm happy with dispatch. My truck had the one hiccup with the DPF filters. Got that fixed. RE Garrison covered that, because I was within my first 30 days. And now I'm out here. Truck's running great. No issues that I'm aware of. And I'm in the best equipment I've been in since I left Swift over 3 years ago, or right at 3 years ago. So that's reassuring. The company's been very supportive, very easy to deal with. And so I put a lot of stock in that. Would I like to be home more? Absolutely. I think we all would. Do I wish things paid better than they do? Sure. I'm sure we all do. If loads paid $5 a mile right now, we'd all wish they paid $6. So at some point, you just have to be content and happy with where you're at and where things are going. I would say communication between me and RE Garrison has been excellent. And so I know everybody wants me to come on here and sling some mud and create some drama, and there just hasn't been any to give you. People have asked me why I haven't made more videos, if I'm upset, if things aren't good, what's going on. No, it's that they manage me very, very well. And manage might be the wrong word, but I'll give you an example. I'm 3 miles from where I pick up tonight, and I've got 22 minutes left on my logbook right now. Now I'll do a pre-trip before I leave out, probably 15 minutes or so. and then I'll go over and pick up that load. And that place traditionally is slow to load. I've seen that on a lot of the Google reviews and stuff. It'll work out great. If they get me loaded before midnight, then I'll safe haven somewhere if I don't have any time. And then at midnight, when my hours come back, I think I get 9 hours and something, I'll start driving to Lubbock, and I'll be there probably Saturday around lunchtime, something like that. And I'm good with that. I'll have Saturday off, go to church Sunday, deliver the load on Monday, Tuesday go to the doctor, and hopefully leave out Wednesday. And I've already conveyed all of that with my dispatcher. She's cool with it. That is one thing, you know, I thought about doing a video about how to be successful here, or what I've seen so far. I'm by no means an expert. I've by no means figured it all out. But one thing that I think is probably key here and at most companies is just communication. I told her this morning, hey, I think I'll be ready Wednesday morning. Kind of depends on what the doctors say. I'll be able to let you know more on Monday. She's like, great, thanks for the update. And so that makes it nice when you've got a good dispatcher. Look, I've been driving, we're creeping up on 29 years. December the 3rd will be 29 years. And I've learned a lot, I know a lot, but there's still things that I don't know, believe it or not. And I call people and ask for advice too. And communication, man, no matter how frustrated, how mad you are, and some of you have seen it with me, when you call me or you email me and you say, hey, I'm upset at my company, I'm thinking about quitting, I always ask you, who have you talked to about it? And almost always they're like, well, I hadn't talked to nobody. They should know I'm mad. And that's not how it works. Most fleets have, 30 to 50 drivers on them, and the nail that sticks up the highest gets hit first. And so if you're not, conveying, hey, this is when I'll be ready for another load, this is when I'd like to go home, there's something wrong with my truck I need to get fixed, things like that, a lot of times they don't know. And then when you call them and you blow up mad and you're like, you should have known, they're like, no, I didn't know. And so I just encourage you to take a deep breath, treat the office staff the way you want to be treated. And if there's a problem, for heaven's sakes, talk to somebody about it. See if you can get it resolved. You'd be surprised what a calm voice and a level head will get accomplished. But overall, I mean, the short truth of this all is I'll always miss the spot market just for the freedom I had at the company I was with. I kind of wish I had this truck over there. Maybe I'd be singing a different song. But these guys have been great to me. I've got great equipment. The loads have been good. I'm doing a lot of drop and hook. The money's been decent. I'm not going to go into settlements and stuff like that, because all it does is create a bunch of drama. I did that back at Swift, and you got 50% that thinks you're bragging, and you got an ego problem, and you got 50% that think you're lying, and nobody's happy, so it doesn't help anybody. If somebody wants to call me and us talk about it privately, we can sure do that. I'll give you the good and the bad. I think I'm doing pretty well here. I've discussed it with a few other drivers that work here, and they've told me they're not making as much as I am. And I'm in one of the more expensive trucks you can get here. So I'm doing pretty good, though. I'm happy. I'm content. I had a good week this week, even despite having the breakdown and basically losing 2.5 days of run time. So this video is already long enough. I hope I've answered your questions. If not, leave me a question down in the comments below, or at the very least say hi. It helps with the interactions on YouTube. Let's try to keep it respectful and civil with each other. And you can also email me at todd@truckertodd.net. I'd be happy to answer any questions about RE Garrison or about what I'm doing or anything like that. And as always, in the comments, I'll pin Staci's information if you've got questions about RE Garrison and you'd like to get more information for her. I would ask that when you talk to her, tell her you've been watching Trucker Todd. That helps me out. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. Don't do it. But if you want to have a way to help the channel out, that's great. All right, folks, that's it for this one. Y'all have a great week. We'll come back with some more. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.